I am a computer. I've been programmed to tell you that your future isn't what it used to be, and neither is mine.
Mankind is entering a future of unlimited possibilities. Tomorrow's city is now being constructed in steel and concrete. Engineers work on a bold new space-age city in the middle of the Arizona desert. What we see may give us a glimpse of life in the 21st century. There are some who say future life isn't here at all, that it exists somewhere in space. Is this tomorrow? Man's curiosity has forever been the key to his survival. The drive to explore the unknown, his fate. His greatest discoveries have been the result of confronting his greatest fears. Of all the mysteries we confront, it is our future itself that remains the most elusive. What lies ahead is the question we posed to some of America's most prominent futurists.
By the middle of the next century, I suspect that there may be literally millions of people every year moving out into space and back again, quite routinely.
I think that most of the existing diseases like cancer, heart disease, and so forth will be either totally conquered or much diminished in frequency by the end of this century.
The evolution of the computer is going to impact everything that we do, including even the evolution of man himself.
I think science is becoming so powerful that the problem that will face us in the future is how to decide what we want, not how to decide what we can get.
Today, prediction of the future is the full-time study of a specialized group called futurists, 20th century visionaries. The mysteries they probe may hold the key to not only the quality of our life, but to our very survival. If they are right, we may soon realize our wildest dreams. 70 miles from Phoenix, on a remote desert bluff, a daring step into the future has been taken. A prototype for space-age cities is under construction. It is called Arcosanti. When construction began 10 years ago, critics labeled it a utopian fantasy. Today, many see it as the genesis of an entirely new type of city. It is a city without streets, a city without cars, a nearly self-contained environment. Though only an experiment, the dream of Arcosanti has attracted worldwide attention, for few theories of the future are actually committed to concrete and steel. Its present population is comprised of an international community of engineers, architects, and students who are convinced that Arcosanti holds the key to the future of city living. So convinced that they work under the blazing Arizona sun as unpaid volunteers. Though a folly to some, to these people, the city represents a chance to build the future around them. They are dedicated to the vision of one man, maverick architect and philosopher Paolo Soleri.
The main relationship of Arcosanti to the environment is in terms of a very limited encroachment on the environment, because what we are doing in Arcosanti takes the place of what we might be doing in a suburban development that might take 20 square miles. That means the community has to have many levels. But through that kind of containment and miniaturization, the impact is going to be minimized on the environment. In addition, the ability to use less resources is going to be also very important. So we are encouraging a notion of frugality, which is not just the individual commitment, but it's commitment of the habitat itself to be frugal.
The name Arcosanti comes from the word arcology, a combination of architecture and ecology. One of the most daring goals will be to bring large-scale agriculture to the heart of the city in the form of giant hothouses. A prototype of this system is operating in Massachusetts. This energy regenerating hothouse is the work of the new Alchemy Institute. Gary Hirschberg.
This greenhouse is 100% solar heated in a climate that is really quite nasty. The heat that comes in here comes through the glazing and bounces off the back wall down into the ground, is absorbed by the ground, and some of it goes to the top of the room where it's either sent outdoors if there's too much heat, or it's collected by a fan whose opening is up here, which takes the heat that has gone to the top of the building and pumps it into this big box here, which is filled with fist-sized rocks. And the hot air heats up the rocks, and then at night when the fan runs, it blows through the heated rocks and takes the heat from them and pumps it out through louvers across the plants and keeps them warm. The rest of the heat that comes in here is absorbed by the fish tanks. The fish tanks are green because they have algae in them. Algae is what the fish eat, but algae also absorbs solar heat, so the water gets slowly but surely hot. Not as hot as dishwater, but hot enough to keep the place warm at night when it's freezing. This combination of architecture and the agriculture and the aquaculture works together without using fossil fuel energy, and it makes the possibility of a greenhouse in this climate commercially viable idea again.
These ideas have already been incorporated into the structures at Arcosanti. Yet, despite the proven practicality of such innovative systems, futurists like Solari are often considered eccentric dreamers. Are he and his followers putting their hopes into a false future?
The notion that I am a utopian or a dreamer, I think it's totally out of contest with my model of reality. I don't believe in the Garden of Eden. I don't believe in utopia. I don't believe in equity in terms of having it tomorrow. I don't believe that life is an easy gliding through few years and so on. So what we are doing here is something very hard to do, difficult to implement. We are absolutely knowledgeable of our limitations in terms of intellect, in terms of resources, in terms of skills, but we think that we have enough reasons for doing what we are doing to stay with it. But there's nothing utopian about Arcosanti. Utterly nonsense. Utopia is for angels. We are not angels.
Still, man has always had visions of a utopian society. How we build our future may now be the result of a remarkable machine.
Hello, I am a computer. I'm happy to give you a demonstration of the way I speak. Pretty good, isn't it, when you consider that English is not my native language, and I'm still learning. Soon I'll sound even better.
We have taught computers how to talk. Current research is developing computers that can think. Already, they serve as the crystal ball of our future. No tool will play a more important role in shaping our lives. With the computer, our imaginations will be able to explore at will. The children of today are growing up using computers as previous generations used pencils and books. As adults, these children will operate computers with unbelievable capacities. Computer expert Lou Crane speculates on where computer technology is heading.
If we were to try to look just 50 years down the future, the impact of computers is going to be absolutely phenomenal. The evolution of computers is going to affect everything that we do, including even the evolution of man himself. Today's computers certainly cannot think. They can only perform pre-coded tasks in a precise, one-step-at-a-time type technique. Basically, they're performing tasks at a tremendous rate, but they're not thinking. But down the road, I'm sure that programs will be written that will allow computers literally to think, to be able to react to their environment, to change their environment, to program themselves. And this will be utterly necessary for a space probe, as an example.
The extreme distances between solar systems require many years of travel. Though we rely on computers in space today, what if a computer could think?
Space is, by its very nature, the unknown. So there's no way that you can tell a computer how to respond to every situation, because you don't know every situation. So the computer has to be able to think for itself, has to be able to adapt to things that we can't even imagine. It may well be that the first contact between Earth and another planet will not be between a man and the other species, it'll be between a computer and the other species. Indeed, it may be between two computers, Earth's computer and their computer.